G'day everyone, welcome to our first episode of Behind the Brew. Today we're over at the New England Brewing Company out in Uralla, population 2,750 as I drove in. Today we've got with us Ben Rylands, owner, guru, all-round good guy. So, yeah, you like that talk up straight off the bat? So look, just want to ask you a few questions about the brewery and what you've been doing and let everyone know sort of the New England story. So I guess tell us about New England Brewing and where you started, how long ago, all that sort of bits and pieces.
Yeah, so we started in 2012 is when we started. We were really operating early 2013. So yeah, we sort of say that we're middle-aged as far as craft beer goes. We weren't the first.
You've cut your teeth.
But yeah, we're sort of that second generation of people that started a brewery.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what makes this brewery unique as opposed to, there's a lot of breweries around in the last sort of 10 years. What makes New England unique?
I think sort of one of the unique things. I mean, we're not the only ones. Is we're proud to be a small town brewery. We don't sort of pretend that we're not, and we're really proud to be a local brewery. And you're only a local brewery if you make beer that locals drink.
I think
and that's probably the most important thing for us is we love selling beer far and wide, but unless we're on the local tap bank at our local pubs in the New England, then we can't really say we're a local brewery. So that's
a hard thing to do, right? Like a lot of places go, okay, well, I've set up a brewery in the local area, but they fail to capture that local audience, and it gets really quite difficult when you just don't know who you are. And I think you guys do that exceptionally well. We had a beer last night, there's a pub 100 meters away, or the next building along, and there is the Blue Boys sitting right there, the Pale.
So yeah, no, we've had great support. Hopefully we give everyone a good product and good service, and we're reliable, and locals embrace what we do.
Consistently making great beer. What philosophy drives the brewing? Because you brew a few different techniques, which I found really interesting. That they're called warm room bits and pieces. So can you tell us a bit about that?
We sort of have an aim to be able to demonstrate what we do as a brewery across a couple of different beer styles. So yeah, we really think that it's important for a brewery not to just be able to make lagers or hazies, but a competent brewery should be able to barrel age beers, should be able to do Belgian highly attenuated beers, should be able to do a classic lager, should be able to do a crazy hazy IPA.
You can diversify across all
styles. That's our aim, is that we demonstrate a passion and a skill to brew across those styles.
Well, I think you've done it well for a few years now, and we're seeing from those rice lagers to those big beers to even dessert stouts recently, which was one of my favorites at movie night. That's just a really impressive beer, and I think interesting, it captured a bit of the market too when you saw a Big Shed unfortunate disappearance in that their golden stout time. That left a little bit of a hole in the market, and I think movie night really sort of jumped into that role. The feedback from us was, Tony, this is brilliant beer. So congratulations on that one. That was brilliant. Just want to ask about a bit of production. So walk us through the brewing process. I mean, this is a pretty awesome setup here. So
so we've obviously started with a very basic, it was like not even a T model Ford brew house.
I saw the photos
back in the day. And yeah, we've slowly Bridge Road's first brew house, and we've after 10 years we moved to like a manual pneumatic. It's a Canadian, fully imported Canadian brew house, so it's about 22 barrels. About 25 hectolitre brew house. We brew 2 or 3 times a week. So it's still the great thing about having a really small brewery is that your beers always should always be fresh and you're brewing all the time. So that was one of the little bit of a concerns about going to a bigger brew house, but with a little bit more production and a bit more sales, yeah, we're still keeping everything really tight and fresh.
And you were talking about yesterday the two barrel kits, the three, and then that what was the thing in the middle called again?
So it's just a two vessel brew house. We've got a mash lauter tun and a kettle. It's all a steam brew house.
You were, and it was the CO2 and how quickly you're getting those.
So we get like
what do we call it?
We've got really big. We've got the kettle's got a calandria.
Calandria, that was the one. That was my word of the day yesterday. That got me there.
So we're sort of not many breweries our size have got our spec of brew house, and it just gives us a little bit more ability to brew without our skill, but using the equipment, brew very clean, particularly low ABV lagers.
And high quality gear gives you a great result, right? I mean, you get what you're paying for, and you're making that decision earlier. Yes, it might have been a little bit higher spend, but you're going to get that quality through time in and time again.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's a 20 for us. It's a 20-year investment.
Yeah. So you got it right at the start, and instead of coming back and going, okay, we'll do that now. So, where does every great beer begin? I like that question. It's a good one. Where does that's a philosophical one. Is it ingredients? Is it to build?
It's ingredients, but I think it's one thing as a little brewery team that we always talk about is that if we ever get sort of cocky about what we're doing, then that's the next day we're gonna have a fail.
Yeah.
So I think
you're keeping yourself on your toes.
I think exactly. I think great beer starts with an understanding that no one knows everything about brewing.
Yeah.
There are no experts. There are experts in fields, but brewing it's a really hard thing to do.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. We've always got to keep trying and keep learning about new styles or new techniques to make sure that next beer, it's just that little bit of improvement here.
Not resting on your laurels. If there's another one to do each time.
Yeah. And just being, like the last couple of weeks, we've brewed a new mid-strength lager, an Oktoberfest beer, and they're some of the beers that we really get excited about doing, as well as having a hazy in the tank that hopefully is going to blow people away.
Well, I like the fact that 8 o'clock in the morning and I get a tank sample straight off the bat. That Keller has tasted great, but that hop smell, that is a beautiful smell. I'm very excited. I think Hazy IPA 01, when you released that, even word around town was this is just an incredible beer. People are reordering, and you don't see reorders of limiteds a huge amount these days. So when you get that feedback again, and you said that smells as good, if not better. So I think we're all pretty excited to see how that comes out, which is very cool. What ingredients define the products, your products, should I say?
I think probably the biggest process difference with us is that all our beers are actually carbonated in the can, or like you would traditionally say, bottle or can conditioned. So every single beer that comes out of New England Brewing Co. is can and keg conditioned. So it's actually undergoing a secondary fermentation. We're not just fermenting the beer
pumping it,
once
shoving it into a cool room
and force carbing it. We're going through a whole second process of fermentation, which really cleans the beer up, gives the beer a much better CO2 flavour quality. And being aspirational, the best breweries can keg condition.
We're talking about with Coopers and
Coopers does it. We've got a couple of fellow breweries in Australia that do it, which we've got as a group of breweries in Australia. They're the ones we respect the most because they're going that extra yard
to get that quality.
They don't need to do it, but they are doing it,
which is great.
It's a big difference.
And I think it's noticeable too. and even consistency-wise, with getting those really great flavour profiles,
So it's
batch in, batch out.
So sometimes bottle shops had a stock issue, and someone hasn't sorted the cartons, and will go 12 months later and pick up a carton of pale ale that's out of date because it's been missed in the cool room, and we bring it back, and a lot of times
You'll run a
that
QC
beer,
on it.
it's not the beer that you'd take home, but it's also still represents something that's half decent.
Yeah, exactly
And
right.
that's because of that extra effort.
Yeah, that's good. What's the hardest part of production here at New England?
Um, Probably the hardest part of our brewery is being in a small town. We have to be pretty self-reliant. We've basically got a hardware shop out the back.
So if something breaks, it's not like I can go and call this bloke or
Yeah.
get help here. It's
So we've got
5 hours from
I think that's the thing.
shooting a flare off.
The stress when something breaks down isn't that it's broken. It's if it's a canning line part or something like that. It's the week that it's going to take
to get that bit,
something
and then
here.
work out how are we going to maneuver to.
So that's
fix
probably the hardest part. It's probably the
Makes
most
sense.
enjoyable bit too. Like all the guys are very good mechanically.
Yeah.
You know, Ted, our lead brewer, could strip down a pump and do everything else. Like everyone.
So that's brilliant. So everyone's
everyone
quite
needs to know
hands-on. They
stuff.
know what they're doing, and they can go and fix these things, which maybe a lot of other people in larger cities and bits and pieces rely on techs and other things to do.
Yeah.
So you guys can actually get in there,
Well,
and
we
you
know
get
what
to
we're-
know your
yeah.
equipment quite intimately, I'd expect too.
We know what we're doing now. But,
Yeah. It's taken a few years. What takes the most patience? Is it the conditioning, brewing, dealing with your distributors?
Yeah, probably, people asking for merch.
I might have done that when I walked into. I said, "You got a really good jumper. What's that? And where's mine?"
No, I just, we're pretty lucky to be doing what we do, and we've got great customers. Like really good local businesses we deal with, and majority independent bottle shops. We know all the people, and they can rely on us, and if we need a helping hand, then we can rely on them.
Everyone gets pulls their sleeves up and gets in it, and having the support, I think, is really important, especially in small towns, and just being part of the community. Not sort of being isolated on the side. In terms of quality, what quality standards do you refuse to compromise on? That, for me, was the first important question I want to ask.
So I mean, obviously, in a technical way, we have what you call gates through the process, where if something was way out, then a decision at that point has to be made.
Yeah.
I suppose that's
and they're in play all the way
good,
through.
Good quality assurance process, which sounds fancy, but it's basically, I mean, is there an issue? And the few times when we do have or have had serious issues, which yes, we have. Everyone does.
It happens.
I suppose
you can catch it before it.
Yeah,
something else.
The most frustrating one's probably snow globe, which if you Google it, some really high-profile breweries have had it where you sort of get really small proteins coagulating in the can, and it pours out and it looks like snow globe. That's
seen it a few times.
That's been really challenging, and trying to get answers to some of these quality issues isn't as simple as you would think either, because some of them are really unique to craft beer.
Yep.
So it's not as if like the guys at Carlsberg discovered the problem in
issues in
1910.
Yeah,
it's really because craft breweries are pushing adjuncts and whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I guess that and it'd create new problems and new issues and solvable things. So everyone's sort of working as a team to see these quality issues and catch them before it's into the marketplace.
Yeah, I think really, we really try to have, and it's a bit of a throwaway line, but really try to have balance in a beer. So, there's nothing worse than getting a beer that's got a great aroma, you take a sip and it's just completely unbalanced. So I think that's a really big, like it's a
That'd be
simple
hard too.
one,
You'd
but
sit there and go, okay, what happened there, and have to work back
yeah.
to try and
So
pinpoint that.
yeah, so yeah, but
So,
it's just being really strict. I mean, if there is a problem, you just got to cop it on the chin and move on. And we sort of know now that once a year
something's going to happen.
we're going to learn a lesson.
So I guess that leads me into the question of what happens when a batch isn't perfect.
Well, it depends where we're up to. We've had to put beer on the floor. It's sort of we've done that once in 12 years.
Once in 12 years?
Yeah. But unfortunately, we've had to not distribute at least 2 batches of beer after they've been canned and labelled as seasonals. And that's
a full gamut
painful.
of costs that come into all of the dry goods and so on. When you're right at the finish line, you go, "Ooh, that's a problem."
That's pretty painful. But it just
doesn't happen very often.
$1 million question. And we have also had some issues with oxidation when we first started canning, and there was a batch that we pulled stock out of bottle shops, which sort of surprised everybody. It's like, oh, what do you want us to do with the beer? It's like, we'll throw it out.
Well, I think that's good that you've gone and got in them and said, hey, that's not perfect. That's not up to the New England standard. Let's get that out.
Yeah.
And in 12 years, if that doesn't happen very often, I mean, congratulations. You've worked out, and it sounds like for me that you've got those quality assurance gateways, as you said, in place to really minimize that.
It's really important for us being in our location. It's not like we're in Marrickville and 50% of our customers are in Petersham. You know what I mean? You can't walk down to the brewery and try the beer beforehand. It's a pure trusting for us, and it's a pure trusting for Acid that if you order a carton of this, it is going to do what we said it's going to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't go and pick the keg up, which goes back to like the guys that wash the kegs.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the job. This is the beginner's job, yes, but
it's if you pretty don't crucial. If you don't clean that out properly, something's going to happen.
If you don't wash this keg and it goes to Melbourne and we get a phone call, well, we've got a really big problem.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that have to happen there. I agree. Yeah. And I guess we've sort of covered that, but how much testing goes into each new release that you do?
So we do pretty often throughout the year. We send beer away to the lab.
Yep.
Just to make sure that we're, everything's
ticking the right
clean and good. We'll also, send a beer away, more with the pale ale and truckload, our core range hoppy beers. We'll send them away to get IBU testing, just to make sure that we're not, creeping out of spec.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And water testing. I mean, in-house we've got, like digital CO2, digital, dissolved oxygen, all that type of stuff.
Got the toys to keep an eye on what's happening.
Yeah.
When you are doing the new releases, how do they come to life? Like, how do you go, oh, let's make a chocolate pecan vanilla stout, for example, like the movie night? Like, where does that come from? Is it sitting around?
Movie night was actually, I was listening to the Vine Pair podcast, and they were complaining that everyone sits at home watching Netflix and not drinking beer. So we thought, we'll give them a beer to drop.
Here's some inspiration. I may have taken that inspiration on board. I felt the need to watch the movie and have that.
Like, we try to get most ideas from the surrounding area, so it actually helps build a brand, not just
let's do that now.
We've tried to steer clear of just doing like a random graphic design label and with a whirly on it or something and put it on a shelf, because it doesn't really get us anywhere.
You're not telling the story of New England.
So and try to have a bit of humour.
And that comes from your other brewers, and you guys as a team go, what about this? Here's some adjuncts that are in season at the moment. what if we play with this? I've been thinking about this for a while. I've lived with brewers for years, and you'll always see them just out of nowhere start scribbling something down of something they've eaten, or I've got an idea here. So just thought we'd get an insight into the psyche there. So, how many ideas never reach production? It's a good one, that one. I'm sure there's some crazy ideas that come out.
It's like having writer's block sometimes with, trying to come up with the next idea that's actually authentic.
Chilies,
yeah, we do have, like this summer, like everyone wants to brew a gozer.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, it's been there, it's around.
And then some ideas that, probably shouldn't happen, but do.
Seen a few of those
happen.
as well.
So, like, we're going to stick with doing our farmhouse for summer.
Yep.
Because,
everyone digs
we want to brew it. And for the few people out there that will embrace it.
I'm pretty excited for it. I think there's more people will jump on it.
So,
and when you're doing those interesting different beers, I think the name and the quality of all of the beers that have come before speak volumes to the buyer at the end user at the shelf. They go, you know what, I will try that. No, it may not be a style that I've always gone for, but I love that brand and I'm willing to give that a shot.
Right,
I think that street cred comes into
we've
play
got to keep challenging drinkers, particularly now. I think challenging people to go back to traditional styles. Yep. I mean, the most surprising beer we've released, twice in the last 18 months is Lord Malty, the Imperial ASB. And last year, we did double West Coast, double hazies, you name it.
Yep.
And we did an Imperial ASB, and it's the most popular beer we did.
Yeah.
And people just reminded of
year round as well on tap points. They go, you've got an ESB, what's red and amber? Yeah, and you've also got your Grandad Brown.
Grandad Brown's just a quiet achiever of
every
the portfolio.
Time it just does thing.
It just pokes along. It's probably got the biggest following of the beers. It's not the most popular. It's got the strongest following.
Yeah. So for me, it was when you said New England Brewing, I go Grandad Brown, and that's in the industry. So in bars, everyone goes.
Well, we do say it's sort of like the bar person's choice. Yeah. It's not going to break records, but the people that appreciate it, they'll remember that drinking occasion.
Yeah. What's the most experimental beer you've ever made? Now talking about these weird ones.
Well, that's probably our previous brewer. First brewer did a Yuzu Kosho IPA. Which was
yuzu and chili are really polarized ingredients. You love them or you hate them, and it cuts the crowd.
He was really into Japanese cuisine, and it was a fantastic beer. That's probably the most challenging beer we've ever done. That was back in, I suppose, the heyday of craft beer, where people were really embracing being challenged by flavors.
Stuff, yeah.
If we did that now, I don't know if it'd kick me.
There'll be another heyday. Remember, it's all cycles. Those boardies that I had on 20 years ago are starting to come back into fashion now, and kids are wearing Guns N' Roses shirts, and it'll all come in cycles. And the big one, I guess, for the guys watching, what's coming next?
So next we've got Evil Lamb 2. So Evil Lamb last year, we had the Savage Lamb. 8 Dave's Thumb last year. This year at 8 Dave's Dog. So it's a sequel.
Oh, great.
Evil Lamb 2. I've got a really nice Oktoberfest beer coming.
I'm looking forward to those. Tasting great.
Yeah, Tangelo Saison coming. Yep. And then there'll be a few more hazies coming up to Christmas too.
Exciting. I like Christmas time. Everyone seems to get stuck into it, and some good beers start to come out. I guess what's been the biggest I'll go back to challenges, and what's the biggest operational challenge today? It just due to vicinity, or?
Yeah, it's always been a challenge being in a small town. We've never really had this sort of.
when walking into it, you go,
heyday,
yeah, this is
the
gonna.
heyday here of heaps of small bars opening up down the road that sort of happened to the guys in Sydney and Brisbane. We haven't really had that locally, so yeah, just keeping everyone happy is probably the big challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how the rising costs at the moment affect? Are they affecting everyone? How have they affected brewing and you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of a little bit lucky because it's a family brewery that rising costs sort of affect, me more than the customer at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, flying the flag, taking one for the team.
But yeah, I mean, we just have to keep making improvements, and like we're now getting our malt shipped in direct. We've invested a little bit more in malt handling.
Okay.
We've reduced costs slightly.
Finding different ways to achieve the same results and keep the operation moving without blowing it out to here's a $550 keg, which is very hard to flip at the inside once you put all the costs and stuff in. And how do you think the consumer demand has evolved? Since inception of 12 years ago. Sorry, 12, 14?
12, 12.
To today. You think have you seen it change much? I certainly think it has a little bit.
Yeah, I think people. I mean, I think we've sort of got an interesting one where we've got a generation of people that have had craft beer as part of their,
growing up
habits.
from 18 and
and they sort of know what a hazy is, what a West Coast is, but it's really for us, and the guys from Canada
spoiled for choice too.
Yeah, the guys from Canada that we got the brew house from that also own breweries, they were saying that the most important, they've been going since the 80s, is, backfilling that customer base.
Yeah, true.
And, it's fine to have, a 45-year-old, dad that slams, hazies that then moves to mid-strengths.
Yep.
We've actually got to find that
got to find a new
we've got to find that
in.
new girl or guy to come in and say, yeah, I love beer for what it is. I think we just have to be a little bit more inclusive of people that don't really want those massive beers. We've sort of gone a little bit off the rails there, I think.
Well, it did. It jumped the rails onto another track after that.
Yeah.
So they got pretty crazy at one time. I mean, I was thinking back, just asking that question to working with Neil Cameron and the guys at Australian Breweries when they were putting pilsners and pale ales into the Red Bull side cans, and it was pretty heavy to go and walk into a bottle shop or a pub and say, "Hey, I've got this weird crafty thing," and usually the publican, "I don't do that fruity beer." I'm like, okay, well,
that's right.
And I think we really come a long way to that point now, where the punter, even from an 18 to 25 to a 30-year-old now, goes, and there's a plethora of options, and usually they've tried it, whether it's their dad, their brother, their son.
So yeah,
they go and drink those beers. They end up coming back too, and I think Stoner Wood also did help that out with their marketing campaign.
Yeah, absolutely.
That reverse Corona sort of style. I guess the last thing to do is the important one is tell us about the team. Introduce the people behind the brewery. How does it all happen?
Well, they're all hiding now.
I'm getting that. You can see a little movement around stainless, but I think tell us about the team, who they are.
So we've got Ted, our lead brewer. Really interesting brewing background of spending about 5 years brewing in small breweries in Southeast Asia.
Bring it.
Loves adjuncts, rice lagers, the whole thing. So he's brought some skills to the brewery that we definitely didn't have, and we probably would have never acquired, actually.
That's got to be great for the process and the conversations that have happened around the table.
Exactly. Matthew, our assistant brewer, Irish guy, he's studying his IBD, loves brewing. He's already done food science at uni. He's
technical whiz.
Yeah, he's good fun. We've got Jacko, who's been here long enough to have a beer named after him, or his own release.
That's a good earn, right?
Jacko does a bit of everything. He's our all-rounder. Zeb's our man behind the bar most of the time, and Rosanna, who keeps it all together.
Overseeing, watching
in the office, and it pretends to be the nasty one.
And I guess this is Meet the Brewer. What makes a great brewer, just in general? What do you think those key attributes?
I think for me, when I look at other, when we look at other peers in the industry, it's being pretty humble and knowing that
There's a couple of smirks.
you're not a genius.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, yeah. If you hear someone sort of talking themselves up, well, I'd run 100 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be humble and respectful that
Everyone's having a crack. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Let's work together, not against each other.
Exactly.
To help build this industry.
Yeah.
And what's I'll do the closing thing. What's one thing consumers don't appreciate enough about brewing? Came up with that one.
Probably, the technical challenges.
What goes into what's in that can and how and why?
We've sort of, I suppose, we've sort of been taught, and wine has done this really well, that wine is the premium product. Wine is really hard to make. Winemakers are, the heads of the liquor industry. Whereas, really, brewing science, it's pretty hardcore stuff, and it's the big breweries have got that benefit that they've got very qualified people, and that's why their beers, whether you enjoy the flavour or not, they hit the mark all the time.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because having a wine background for me, in the wine industry, people follow winemakers that don't technically sometimes don't follow brands. And part of this Meet the Brewer series and introducing people to understand what's going on is more about understanding Ben and Ted and the guys, and really following those rock star brewers to see what they're doing. Because in the industry, we know them. We know, oh wow, geez, you can taste that in that beer when they move and so forth. This is all part of just educating the public of what we do behind the scenes. It's not just a nameless, faceless thing that comes out and sits on the shelf. So, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And what do you hope people think about when they drink your beer?
Well, I suppose the best thing would be if
I'm
they
going to get another.
Think about something else and would completely distract them from their day.
Nice.
Is probably the thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking up your time. I know brewers and everyone's got to get stuff done, but thanks for joining the first ever Meet the Brewer. Guys, like and subscribe, jump in, put your comments below, let us know how we went. Thank you for sticking by us, and we'll see you for the next episode. Thanks again, Ben. Cheers.